Fuck. Hold on, brother. What did I do? I hit the, where do I? Oh, fuck. You had this on YouTube?
I fucked everything up real bit.
What happened? What happened?
I don't know how to stop it.
That was my fault.
Delete. Okay. No, they can watch us live there.
Okay, this is no good. Then we'll do this another time. I saw the that he was with fucking that Linda Sarsur.
Who was?
De Blasio. That piece of shit. This is Gary Gabagool, my boy Sal, for another 15th edition of the Red Podcast.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Starting off the podcast with the little Beastie Boys and Sabatouge. And Sabatouge, Sal picked out because it's quite appropriate. There's way more than Sabatouge going on.
God, what are we gonna? The shit we're gonna get into today is like, it sounds like a fucking plot to a movie, but it's not even a plot to a movie. This is real life, and we're dealing with it, and it just goes on. People don't even pay attention.
We got to start off the broadcast. There's a lot to talk about, but we got to start off the broadcast with the Clinton body bag count. And I don't know if you realize this, people, in less than 12 months, 1 year, there have been 8 deaths that we know about. And the deaths associated with Hillary Clinton and her people, these are not random killings. And for all you liberals out there, how you can't connect the dots and say that this is a conspiracy theory, or this is some conservative witch hunt on Hillary Clinton.
Breaking news: in a wild case of suicide,
yeah,
man shoots himself 4 times in chest.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I hear this all the time that, oh, there's no proof, but I mean, just this week, 2 people have been killed, and Sal and I looked everywhere. This dude, Dimitri Noonan, the pilot who was on the Lynch, Ryan, Bill Clinton plane.
Yeah, he had the tell-all article. He said he heard everything that they were saying. He was the pilot of the plane.
No one can find him.
Yeah,
he's missing.
We're looking at stories. There was a bunch of stories saying that he died. We can't confirm that he's dead, but
I do know he's missing.
He is MIA right now.
So let's get into this thing, because what I want to do is give a little, Sal and I want to give a little background on Clinton. And every person we talk about, what I want to do for all you liberal people out there is I kind of want you to think, and for once, open your mind and think of the possibility that, not even the possibility, the actual events of this shit going down. Because really quick, we're going to talk about some people in the past, and then we're going to go into the last week.
Yeah. All
right. So something that, and here's another part, a caveat to the story that Sal just mentioned earlier in the beginning when Sabatouge was playing. Zero of this is mentioned in the media whatsoever.
Yeah, you won't find this in the media.
You don't even hear it really on Fox, but you don't hear it anywhere. But
you'll see like a Reuters blip,
right?
A fucking, one of these little, actual AP news flash,
right?
And then it's gone. It's within an instant, it's gone.
And to find it, you have to search.
Yeah, and then most of the searches are it's sad because when you do search this stuff, all the fake news pops up, and it's so hard to decipher what a credible news source. And when you actually look into it, you're like, I can't even say if this is real or not.
Well, that's Sal's expertise. Sal is a Google guy. That's what he does for a living. And for him not to be able to extrapolate this information and find the actual things on Google, because I personally think that Google's working with Facebook, is working with YouTube. They're all working together to bury this stuff.
I mean, and Google's getting sued out the ass, billions from all these places. That's like, I hope they're doing the right thing and they're really not burying these articles. But it seems like when you do searches, all they want you to find is the fake stuff. So people are like, see, it's not credible. It's not freaking real.
They put Snopes, which is the biggest joke, as your number one or number two search.
And actuality is you can't find this guy. No one knows where the fuck he is. And is he really dead, or is he just fucking hiding because he doesn't want to die?
He could be in hiding. I'm not saying he's not, but he could be. And so Sal and I don't want to come. The one thing we take pride in is on our podcast, we try to have credible, factual sources. We don't just throw out innuendos like they do. That's the one thing we don't want to do, is we don't want to be like the liberal Democrats or the fake news and just say things that aren't true. The stuff we say has been proven. It can be found. There's documentation, things of that nature.
Credible sources.
Exactly. So real quick first, we're talking about the Clinton body count. There was a dude, I don't know if you know this guy. There was a dude named Gary Johnson a bunch of years back. And this never, ever came up. Yeah, no, it's the same name. But this is the dude in Arkansas who he was next door neighbor to Jennifer Flowers. So he was just some ordinary, normal guy that happened to, back in the day, to have a video camera, and he videotaped Bill Clinton coming in at Jennifer Flowers' condo 138 times in a, man, that's getting laid a lot. But he's coming at her for the last 1 year, basically, or year and a half.
Dude's doing work.
Bill Clinton was doing some work on Jennifer Flowers, who at the time was a pretty good-looking woman. And what happened was, one day, 4 Arkansas state troopers who, when I do my research and look at some information, I found that Clinton used, Bill and Hillary used the state troopers as kind of like a security force enforcer types. So they bust into this guy's condo. They beat him to death. However, he somehow survived. I think he spent 6 months in the hospital. I'm shocked that they didn't kill him in the hospital, but he survived. And they ruled it, the state of Arkansas ruled it a burglary. But here's where a tangled web they weave comes in. The only thing stolen out of Gary Johnson's condo, which was confirmed by him, the victim, was the videotapes of Bill leaving that 138 times. So now, if you have any electrons firing in your brain, even one, if this doesn't sound like a complete case of Bill and Hillary using their extensive power, extensive wealth, and extensive corruption to their advantage, then you have a screw loose. Yeah. Something's wrong. And I can go back, Sal and I can go back to when they were back when he was a senator. There's been stories of them drug dealing and people dying, young men, 17 years old. As a matter of fact, there's a mother right now who has opened up the case and is filing suit against, look it up, in Arkansas, against Hillary and Bill Clinton for the death of their son. It was ruled that he got wasted and fell asleep on a train track and got run over. However,
what the fuck? What the fuck? What?
Yeah.
You know what? I've never done wasted.
Yeah.
Wanting to fall asleep on a train track.
On a train track, but
you know where I want to fall asleep? On a couch.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
a girl's house.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
But what happened was, and what was failed to mention was that this man, this 17-year-old boy, who the rumors were he was dealing drugs to his friends and basically a runner for them, had a caved-in brain. So someone beat his head in, killed him, and then left him on the train tracks. And this story that they reproduced. But that was, and we can go back and back. And we're not going to because there's so many. But
we don't need to say the names. Everyone knows Vince Foster, Seth Rich. We know these people. The
body count is over 100 right now. But in the last year, we have Seth Rich, Sean Lucas, Victor Thorne, John Ash, Monica Peterson, and all these people either had information that was going to lead to her being investigated, or being actually they had to testify, and each of their testimonies were no more than 3 to 5 days in advance when they were dead. So That was in the last 12 months.
Now let's go into this week.
Let's go into this week since our last podcast. Since last Sunday, when Sal and I talked to you, we talked about Dimitri Noonan. We don't know what happened to him. But there was a guy named Klaus Eberwein, and he was the direct deputy general of Haiti. And this next Tuesday, so 2 days from now, he was supposed to go into an ethics committee in Haiti, and he had proof of the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that the Clinton Foundation stole from Haiti during the earthquake, and what they did with the money, the child trafficking. And he showed up dead on Friday.
On Friday, he was supposed to testify? Or
Tuesday.
And it was funny, too, like, just thinking back, not even thinking about the Clinton Foundation or anything, thinking back when that earthquake happened in Haiti. And I remember, like, that was the first time I ever saw that donate now through text. That was the first time I remember ever seeing. That wasn't even around for 9/11.
And you want to hear something fucked up? The guy who set that Clinton text up, he was an Irish billionaire who made he supplied all the texting and the phones to exclusively Haiti, and he made all the money on it. He kicked back.
I remember seeing that, and I was just like, how the fuck do these people know their money's actually going there? That was just it was, of course it wasn't. Right. I mean, it was so obvious. It was like text 899, whatever it was, to this, and $10 will be donated to relief funds for Haiti. It's like, how the fuck do people know? Like, the only way I would ever give money to Haiti, which if I was rich, I would fly that shit down there and actually spread the fucking,
exactly,
the food or whatever the fuck it is.
Like, right. And I think they probably even stole that. So this poor guy, and here's a kind of an addendum to the story. This Klaus Eberwein basically told Haiti officials that he needed security and he needed protection because he was afraid for his life. And now the guy ends up dead. So I'm sorry, people. If you can't, see the forest through the trees here and see the incredible. Listen, this woman, the DNC, their operatives, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, all of them, these people are bad, evil people. Yeah. If you don't see this, then there's a dude named Peter Smith.
They're representing it.
Exactly. Yeah. Then there's a dude named Peter Smith. He was a GOP operative who was investigating the Clintons on the same thing. They found him dead on Saturday. So the next day.
What was his name?
Peter Smith.
Peter Smith.
They found him dead the next day. Jesus. And there was rumors, and I can't confirm, that he was working with Klaus Eberwein. So let me tell you something. I think the Clintons' mantra is dead men tell no tales. And I think they use that same thought process for Benghazi. I think they use the same process for everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kill everyone.
Kill everyone. It's this is what we were making. I mean, we were talking about this before the show. We were making jokes like we were comparing it to movies. We were comparing it to Casino. Yeah. When Nicky goes on his drugged tirade after he does all the robberies, and he goes, "Hey, anybody with any knowledge of anything, they turned up dead." Exactly. That's exactly what's happening here. And this isn't a fucking movie, people. This is real life.
This isn't Mafia in Vegas in 1975.
Yeah, no.
When the shit was like the Wild West.
These are actual gangsters killing people because they have information that could hurt them.
Yep.
And what the knowledge, it's not like they were, dealing drugs or anything. They're fucking child trafficking. They're stealing your money. Like
billions. And
half the nation doesn't seem to give a fuck.
No,
it's crazy.
And no one in the media obviously is in their back pocket. Yeah. They don't talk about it, but
that's 100%.
Well, now you can see why people don't come forward.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's basically submission on retaliation. It's the oldest thing in the book. Like, put your thumb on somebody's jugular long enough, and everyone else is going to scurry.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to end up like that fucking guy.
Of course. And the thing is, it seems that the government, no one can be trusted. No one can protect them.
No. That's why I feel like if something actually happens to these people, it has to be way at the top.
Yeah.
And they have to crack down hard and swiftly.
Yep.
Or next thing you know, you'd be like, well, it turned out, I wish I could, people yell at me, but I can't name all the superior justices. Yeah. You're not, that's what's gonna happen. 3 of them are gonna die in a week, and it's gonna be this is coincidence,
right?
Like,
so, and like Sal said with the movie Casino, at the very end, what happened? Nicky and his brother were in a hole.
You and your brother want to be tough guys, huh? You want to be tough guy?
They got hit with baseball bats, and this is what goes down in our. This is our fucking political system. This is the Democratic caucus. These are the people running that party. This is insane. And I don't think you've heard of this. I don't think the last time we heard of a trial where witnesses were either intimidated or killed. It hasn't happened in American justice system in quite some time. When you had, even with the big time Colombian drug lords, the Mexico gangs, even John Gotti. I mean, they couldn't do that anymore. They sequestered these people, and it's amazing to me that this is what goes down.
It's incredible. The ties and the deepness are insane. It's almost like if you get contacted by these people to do something for them, you can't say no, because if you do say no, you're dead.
Yeah,
you know something. You're dead. It's just like the fucking movie. That's what it's turning into.
Well, why would anyone want to come forward? If I mean, right now we just read off 10, 12 names of people who came forward. Some had the choice to, some didn't. Some got subpoenaed. Some had, some had to, cover their asses. Every single one of them ended up dead. And listen, I think I've spoke about this before, and it's worth mentioning again. This is what I find funny. Not only did this Eberwan guy say, I need help, I need to be protected. Victor Thorne basically said, if I get killed, Hillary Clinton did it. 3 days later, he gets killed.
Hillary Clinton did
it. So that's something that is just mind-boggling to me.
Holy shit. It's insane. It really is insane. They're going to testify when? In 3 days. Oh, they're dead.
Dead.
Every time.
Excuse me.
God bless you.
Excuse me. Yes. Dead every time. So I guess the big question mark is when, and this is the question I have, which is probably a difficult one, and who knows when it's going to be answered. But when is something going to be done about it? I don't know.
I don't know. I've been saying, do they even dare try? Like I was saying, do 3 judges end up dead in a week, for trying the case? Do they actually go forth and actually give it a shot? I hope so.
Do you cut off the head of the snake? Here's my thing.
They have to. It has to end sometime.
Right. Has to. I say this all the time, and I still wonder, but when are the Clintons or the DNC going to kill the wrong guy or the wrong woman? And what I mean by that is they kill someone who has a badass in their family, who just doesn't give a shit anymore about his own life and just goes on some rampage.
That, or they kill someone who has a lot of money.
Right.
Whose family has a lot of money.
And then they fight back.
Because they're really good about the people they kill. They kill poor people. People that have no fucking anything. Their families are
right.
They can't do anything to stop them.
And then this person pulls like a vigilante, justifiably so.
It just takes one crazy guy to go lose his fucking mind. And that's
like, God forbid you kill his son or his daughter or his wife.
Go straight Punisher on you.
He goes nuts. Exactly. And so that's the question, because I'll tell you right now, of all these bodies that have been showing up dead, not one person has gone back at them. And I know what we're saying probably sounds idealistic, because the Clintons have so many people on their payroll. And here's the thing. The Clintons have some bad people. I mean, they got killers. They got guys who are probably special ops, black ops guys. Those guys are badasses, man. And
they all got paid.
They're getting paid. They're getting paid a lot of money.
You just go in, you do something in the middle of the night. Someone ends up with a case of suicide, and that's that, man.
Well, the interesting, too, is if you go back and look at the Clinton body count, a lot of these guys who are dead have never been reported were the guys who actually did the killings. So these guys got hired by the Clintons, killed a group of people or did a job for them, and then they ended up dead themselves.
Like the movie.
Exactly
they
like
do
the movie.
Something. They're dead.
Like the movie.
You're fucking dead. You know it? You're dead. It seems like the Lufthansa heist. Anybody do anything, they ended up fucking dead. I don't even know that didn't even make sense. That's from Goodfellas.
Yeah, that's no, that's from Goodfellas. But yeah, it's true though. But that's something. So I don't know. I sit here and it's been like this for years for me, that I'm dumbfounded that this can just happen under the watchful eye of you know, the American justice system, and justice is never delivered. Never. We know this. You know, she's getting off. The funny thing is she doesn't even get brought in for questioning.
They won't. I think at this point they can't do it because the fragile psyche of the average American mind. If they saw like Hillary Clinton go to jail, they might just go themselves.
Let them.
I was a joke.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping you. I was hoping you're right. I hope that I was. You know, your mouth to God's ears. This is what I want. I don't want it to be a joke. I want it to be real.
I know.
But that's crazy. And
oh yeah, the snowflakes that we can't call them snowflakes.
Yeah,
we call them the unmasculine, can never get a woman in their life, and if they have manginas, so they have to lower themselves to these fucking hate groups, self-hating men.
This past week, ABC News had, and this is what we talk about all the time, how the people who run these major news organizations, how they even call themselves journalists, how they even call themselves adults. They had a whole 15-minute. I watched it. It was, and then people goofed on them, obviously, on the internet. You know, people goof, but they had a whole telecast about the word snowflake and how they want it banned. And the woman said it with a straight face. That was my reaction.
Oh my god! And I didn't see it. That's why I'm laughing. I'm just listening to this. Like I can't even be real.
And then people goofed on them, obviously, because she was saying how upset she was that the word snowflake is become a word that's really damaging to their psyche. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So honestly, I think calling them a snowflake is actually kind. Kind and gentle word.
It's the nicer way to go about it.
Much nicer.
I'm sorry. In my mind, I'm thinking I was going down another route with my mind because I was thinking of the racism that they were trying. I was thinking of the Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather press conferences and how they were trying to say he was being racist.
Of course.
And I was trying to think about how pussified like black people have become recently. Like you cannot say you can't say anything to these people without it being racism.
Right.
Or it hurts my heritage or this and that. And it's just like, you guys, like, I thought black people were supposed to be tough. What happened? They ended up being lazy pussies. Like that's what they've all turned out to be.
Well, the funny part is a lot of these people who add on to them are the white people, rich or suburban white people.
You're right. You do nothing and get money for it.
Yeah, it's just funny that this is what it's become.
That's that was my point. It's like the new Lily White. It's like black.
Yep.
You can't say a fucking thing to these people without you make a bad with my bear.
Yeah, they get
my grandpa was that.
It wasn't even. I want to tell you something. Here's another funny thing. I will guarantee you give a globe to the average African American, and you ask them without take the the letters off the globe, and you ask them to pick out where Africa is. They don't even have a fucking clue.
That's the thing. Africa's a fucking continent.
Yes.
God damn it.
You're
from
even know
a
that.
fucking country in Africa.
Exactly.
And most of those Africans were the ones who fucking sold you.
Exactly.
In the beginning. So.
And let me tell you something. I hate to tell you, black, African Americans.
From a fucking country, not a continent.
African people don't even like you.
You're American.
I've worked with a lot of people from Africa who thought of African Americans. They had a lot of bad things to say about you. They don't consider you guys one and the same. They consider themselves hardworking. They consider themselves, coming here to make a better life for them and their families. And they call you. This isn't me. This isn't Sal. I've been around African people who've called African Americans lazy, unmotivated bums.
No, I called them that too.
Yeah.
I called them
but that's what they call you. So I find it funny that you're going to come talk about your slave roots and here's the funny part. We weren't even here. Our ancestors weren't even here. So I'm sick of this whole connotation, and so I know we've regressed, but I'm tired of that whole thing.
No, I just had it on my mind, and that's what I wanted to get out because it's just like it kills me. Everyone is basically the fucking same now in 2017.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Quit your fucking bitching. Let's move forward together.
Yep. And there's something we talk about, and we rag on liberals here all the time, but I'm gonna spend some time shitting on the rhinos. And you know who they are, the rhinos of our country. And I'm going to start off with the #1 right now we all know about McCain, and we all know about Lindsey Graham and what's his name, McConnell, Lee. We have another one out of New Hampshire. I think the name is Jones, who's a scumbag. But we're going to talk today about Paul Ryan. And Paul Ryan was on that plane, and we just found that out from Dimitri Noonan. And here is Paul Ryan. He came out with basically a statement saying that he was bamboozled into getting on that plane. And when he was on there, he was quite upset because he was there for all the wrong reasons, he said. And what he said is, and I found this to be funny, that when Lynch was talking to Bill Clinton and vice versa, their dialogue went back and forth, cutting deals, saying what was going to happen when Hillary Clinton won the election. He had the nerve to say that he didn't hear a damn thing they said because he had Rage Against the Machine on his iPod he was rocking out to.
It's almost like they need to hire me for the lying, because I could come up with way better lies. Exactly. I'm a way better writer than that. Holy shit. And it's just like I'm trying to like correlate Paul Ryan into like I want to say a movie that everybody would know, but I guess it's kind of tough.
It's kind of like Fredo.
Remember, did you ever see the movie Sin City?
Yes.
Remember Tobey Maguire? He was that evil.
Yeah.
He's that evil little lurker.
Yeah, a little creepy fuck.
Yeah, he's a creepy little fuck that know once you turn your back will claw you to death.
Yep. And so, but think about this. He didn't, like, a normal person would. This is how you know he's guilty. A normal person would have just said, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. I wasn't listening. But he had to come out that he was listening to Rage Against the Machine, which makes me think he's trying to be fucking cool.
It almost has me like I'm stuttering a little again. Like, you were on the fucking plane. How big was this fucking plane? You couldn't hear them, dude. I don't give a fuck if you were listening to Rage Against the Machine. You could still read lips. You know exactly what the hell was going on.
I'm actually shocked. Like, he didn't say, like, I was listening to Rage Against. I was listening to Guerrilla Radio.
Turn that shit up. Oh my god.
This is how much of a punk he is.
Like, and not like you realize what's going down, what's transpiring right in front of you. Clinton is meeting with the AG on some fucking runway in Arizona. You know this is bad. You know this is bad. You're an official in the White House. You know this is bad, and you turn up Rage Against the Machine. You should be fucking fired right then and there.
Well, no,
then and there.
No, I kind of equated to when like a child hears their parents arguing, and they go, "Wah, la, la, la," and they jump up and down like they don't want to hear it, and they just yell. Yes, like they put their hands over the ear and go, "Wah, la, la," but we're talking about a child who's like 4.
And this is 3. Real shit that it matters to a whole group of people named Americans.
And this is the House Whip, the House Speaker.
Wow.
The head of the RNC. This is him saying that he had to turn, Rage Against. I'm baffled, and Sal is deadpan on. He could think of better lies than this shit. I love the word too he used, bamboozled.
Bamboozled.
Who even uses that fucking word anymore?
You're bamboozled. What are you, fucking 13? The first time you ever had a concert, you're bamboozled. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, so this is Paul Ryan. I know some people out there don't want to believe this, but Paul Ryan is an opportunist. That's all he is. Look back. I've done my homework on this guy. He's taken money from a lot of people. This piece of shit has taken money from George Soros. And you take money from George Soros, you're not a good person.
Yeah, you're taking money to do something wrong.
You're bought. You're bought and paid.
Bought and sold. Yeah.
And
you're gonna have this stance. No open dialogue. You take this stance no matter what.
Exactly.
Please.
So that was what's going on with that. Waiting to see what happens. Still from last week. Still haven't heard much about Lynch or
we got to find out what happens to
Susan Rice.
Maybe we'll find out something tomorrow.
Hopefully and hopefully this guy Noonan is in hiding and didn't get killed.
I mean, if you look it up, it's real fucked up. He's dead. He's alive. He's missing. It's hard to.
Yeah, you can't get it. I can't get any definitive facts on that. But another thing we want to talk about was President Trump in France.
Yeah.
Visiting Macron. What were your thoughts on that?
My thoughts were, like always, when France needs America, they kiss our fucking ass.
Yep.
And they do all this shit.
I agree.
As soon as they don't need us in like 6 months after we help their country, fuck America.
Yep.
Like always.
The handshake was funny.
And hopefully Trump sleeps with his wife. That's all.
Yeah, he probably has already. No,
He probably has, right? 30 years ago.
Because he looks like a little fag,
Yeah.
Macron. He just does. He looks like he just looks like a guy who
God.
he's just a little. It's funny how they both come, and I don't mean to stereotype, but it's true.
I don't mean that sleeping with his wife stuff either. That was just joking.
Yeah, but it's funny when you put Macron next to Trudeau.
Oh,
They're both like those wheezy little French dudes.
I just like how like Trump is got that old man strength.
Yeah.
70 years old, towers over this guy. He wants a handshake. Yeah, bring it in, buddy.
Exactly. That's
Pull
what
you in for the real thing.
That's funny because it's crazy. Back in the day, it wasn't too many years ago, I used to go to this strip mall to meet my buddy Danny. We used to go to a diner there, and there was a man who was a World War II fighter pilot. This man was not a young man. We're talking probably in late 70s at the time. But Danny and I used to sit with him and listen to his stories. He had great ones. You know, back in the day with the bomber guy in the back, you know, the old, fighter pilots like World War II. Exactly, getting shot by the fucking Japanese, ping, 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 But the thing I'm bringing up the story for is every time you met him and every time you left him, he shook your hand. And he had a handshake like a fucking vice.
Yeah, it's hands of steel probably.
And he was not a young man. He might even been early 80s.
Yeah.
And after he came out of being a fighter pilot, he was a chief of police in Newark in the 60s, which was not, late 60s, which was not a good time.
During the riots.
Yeah. Ooh. And so this guy had great stories, but he used to do two things: shake your hand really tough, and then he used to have a make-believe gun that he carried a gun when he was a chief, obviously, but he used to do this draw with you, and you guys see how fast he was. So you're talking about an 82-year-old man. At the time, I'm in my late 30s, and this guy is in his early 80s. And my buddy Danny and I are young men, and he would squeeze the fuck out of your hand. He didn't do it to be a prick. That's the way he was. That's the way he was.
A bear.
So I just find it funny, like like Sal mentions, Trump is just an old school old guy.
Macron probably saw him. He's like, look at this old man, and Trump's like, dude, fucking old man, dude, strength.
And like
I love it.
It's America. It was funny. It was funny, and so I thought that was good. And then now that we're talking about Trump, let's get on the whole.
So you felt the same way though about France? They're going to do the same shit.
I honestly think France are a bunch of they've proven in history that they're users. They especially to America. And listen, I'm okay with it as long as we identify it and we know what they're up to, and they know. He does know. He knows. And listen, one thing about President Trump is we won't get taken advantage of anymore. We have in the past.
Yeah, he's trying to align all these financial deals and trade deals now, so we don't get fucked.
I mean, we've got fucked over with Obama, big time. We got fucked over with GW Bush, big time.
Yeah, well, GW seemed like
he was like a pacifist.
He kind of checked out.
Yeah, he did. That's a great word. Yeah. He checked out. Yeah. The last 4, he checked out.
He was checked out.
He didn't want to do it.
Nah, the first 4 years, he kind of got robbed from him with the war, and then the last 4, he didn't give a fuck. So
9/11.
Yeah.
That's a great point Sal makes. He definitely and I think Obama. Well, I don't think
Obama never checked in.
I don't think he ever checked in. However, I think the last 2 years he checked out of not even checking in and sabotage. Just like our song.
It was sabotage for sure because he said he's like, you know what? The next guy who gets in, his first year or 2 is going to be complete fucking hell. And
he's done. Yeah, listen, people. That's the only thing President Obama has been successful at is causing chaos.
Yeah.
And it's
trying to start wars.
Yeah.
People said the Republicans started all the wars. He's the motherfucker trying to start a war with Russia.
Yep.
For what reason?
Yep.
Because they lost. This makes no sense.
Yep. And so he's the guy, and sabotage is a great word, and so it was an appropriate song from the Beastie Boys that Sal chose to start off the podcast.
We're gonna probably go out on that too.
Absolutely. And then another thing is, now I don't really want to talk about this, but we have to. And I just want to kind of sit here and I shake my head, and it's funny because Sal and I, before the podcast, and we talk all week, but we sit here and we go, do we really want to talk about Trump Jr. and Russia again? It's like beating a fucking dead horse. But the thing I want to mention is this, and it's really not getting mentioned at all. And I've been hearing it, and I purposely this week put on the news. I just did, because you need to see kind of like what the hell's going on in the media. And because you have to scratch your head and say, I'm holding my brain right now, because right now my brain is leaking out of my eardrums because I'm so fucking sick and tired of hearing now, instead of just President Trump in Russia, now it's Trump Jr. in Russia. And the thing that you don't hear about is the lawyer, the woman lawyer that Donald Trump Jr. met with was given an illegal visa by Lynch and Obama. And they called it, she was going to be given this because it was extraordinary circumstances. You know what those extraordinary circumstances was? Setting up fucking Donald Trump Jr.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
And even then, I mean, it's felonious, is what it is. It's a bullshit lawsuit or whatever the fuck Obama's trying to sue, or I can't even remember. Like I said last week, this dude is trying to stave off the impending doom that is about to happen to his life.
I agree with you.
So he's going to do, like,
not just him, all
of them. They're all going down. And it's like kicking and screaming, like a 4-year-old, how they're going down. There's like, you're going to bed. It's bedtime.
Right.
So it's just like,
it's the thing that Sal and I can name, and like I know people here on Facebook, we talk all the time. We can name 30 names who are, of course, you're starting with Hillary and Bill Clinton, then President Obama, and then you're working your way down the list of shitheads that are associated with these people. But every single one of them is playing into this false narrative because they are just trying to misdirect and focus all the attention off themselves because of all, like Sal says, the fucked up stuff they've been doing now for years. But it's really been come to it. And if you know when this all started, it all started with the wiki emails when they were exposed.
In about, like, what was that, August, September? When that happened?
Yeah.
And that's when the shitstorm really started.
Of course.
Last year.
Because it was all there in paper, and it had facts, it had information. And the funny part is if you remember, like Donna Brazil, she was at the time, she got fired. But
dumb bitch.
That dumb idiot. But here's what she said in an interview, and this is really what upsets the Democrats and Bill and Hillary Clinton and the Obamas. They were upset because they were saying, well, we were hacked, and no, what you were upset about was you were caught, with doing all this corruption and illegal activity in writing.
We were hacked was this year. That should be this year's phrase of the year. We were hacked. You saw it. Anybody, all the people out there who watch sports, anybody could tell you a player will put up a fucking tweet. It'll be unsavory. It'll say I wants to be traded or fuck this, fuck that, whatever. This person sucks. A minute later, it'll be down. I was hacked.
Yep.
Bullshit.
Yeah, you wrote it.
You wrote it. You realized it was insensitive, or it didn't make sense, or this was wrong,
or you were drunk,
or you're about to get
high,
hate.
or whatever.
Yeah, you were about to get this. You're about to get that. You're about to get some form of hate that you didn't want, some kind of attention that you didn't want, and you took it down. And what do you say? Because it's the internet and it's going to be there forever. I was hacked. We were hacked.
Yeah, someone took my phone.
It's the get out of jail free card of the year.
Exactly.
I was hacked. We were hacked. It's bullshit. You were not hacked. It was all your fucking fault.
Right. And it goes back to what we've been saying 15 podcasts ago. It's a liberal mentality of not accepting responsibility.
Transference, like
exactly.
The original podcast where we say liberal transference.
That's all they do.
It's fucking insane.
Well, I find it hilarious that everything the DNC accuses others of is what they do, like transference. It's the simplest concept. If you go into Psychology 101, it's basically, if you go and do your homework and look in psychology, and I'm not a psychologist, but I did a little bit of research, but it's basically a crazed mentality of someone doing something to someone and just saying, you did it.
Yeah, doing something wrong they know is going to be getting them in trouble, and be like, no, I didn't do that, you did it. When clearly everyone saw that the original person was the wrong.
Exactly.
So it's just like, it comes down to, it's like, all right, now, does everyone else, do we all see that? Like, do we all see this? Can we all get on the same page? And it's like, a lot of people are hesitant to combat the mentally ill and the fucking problem. People don't want to take out head-on problem. They want to just nudge it, put it to the side.
Ignore it.
Hopefully it'll work itself out. And then some problems, they just grow and fester and become bigger problems. Yeah. And that's what this problem is. The whole fucking DNC.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And this is just becoming a crazy thing. But I think, what Sal said, he went on about it last podcast, and I think he was 1,000% correct, is that something's going to hit the fan very soon, and they're just trying to hold it off for as long as they could, because it's like you throw enough shit against the wall, it's going to stick. And somebody, I don't know who, and maybe it might be President Trump, it might be an attorney general, it might be, both FBI guys after Comey, McCabe, and this new guy, they both suck. And maybe we name a new guy, but somebody has to come to the forefront and start prosecuting these people, because it's going to be like a dominoes. Once you cut the head off the snake, of the big snake, everybody's going to fall into line. It's just inevitable. And I don't care who you are, unless you're killed, obviously. But if you're one of these people, like a Donna Brazile or a Susan Rice or a Loretta Lynch, they're going to turn around and say, wait a second, I'm not taking a hit for Hillary and Bill Clinton. They may love them, they may respect them, they may fear them, but nobody in that level who has a good life is going to take the hit for them. Yeah. Now, they may end up dead.
It's like these people,
right?
They're like, oh, they're not paying my bills. I'm gonna fucking testify. Oh,
right.
You're dead.
You're dead.
You're dead.
Mean, and they start killing, members that are DNC is no different than what they've been doing in the past. So that's something that's going to be interesting. Another thing that happened, and it was this was, I have to talk about it because it was posted on my Facebook 7 times.
Okay.
There was this cop in New York who made a video. I don't know if you saw it. He made a video.
Yeah, no, about the girl,
exactly.
The woman cop.
Yeah. So I have to talk about it. It was posted so much, and he was great. And here was a guy who's on the streets of New York, and he went on, and what he said was quite interesting, and it wasn't really addressed. But first off, this black African-American female cop, the mother of 3, was executed in her squad car by another black guy. And he basically said where's the outrage in the media? Where's the outrage from Black Lives Matter? Yeah. Where's the outrage from Hollywood, the entertainment industry? And he makes a great point, because these assholes will be the first one when someone like Michael Brown, Michael Brown was not a good man. He was a felon. He was a criminal. Before he was murdered, excuse my language, before he was deservedly, I guess you'd say, killed, he beat up 2 people.
This was Ferguson?
Yeah.
Just a little, keep it in your mind. But what happened since then, those 2 years that's happened in Ferguson since those riots in the Missouri campus? You know how many white people go to Missouri University? No. Zero now. Zero. That university is tanking.
That's what I would do.
Tanking.
Good.
No one will send their children to Missouri University.
I wouldn't either.
I was reading the story this week. Their whole endowment's shot to shit. No one wants to fucking go there. And they're like, and then you read the articles from the people that live there, like, what the fuck do you think was gonna happen?
That's great news.
It is good news.
It's about time somebody did something right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, keep going.
No, that's good.
I just wanted to interject real quick.
But he wasn't, and he was right. He basically, the cop who shot him had a broken cheekbone. The guy, and the kid was a 310-pound guy, and he was on drugs. So, but when this happened, all these assholes came out for this guy, the criminal. And we have a prevailing thought in America, and I want to get your reaction on this. But it doesn't just go with these crimes, and not just against the cops or the military. We have this weird fucking thing going on where all of a sudden the DNC, the liberal media, these Hollywood entertainers are making bad good and good bad. Yeah. And they're turning everything topsy-turvy. And it freaks me out, because it pisses me off, because the one thing that I try to always say, and we do this a lot on the podcast, is we try to make things better. We try to be good people. We try to tell the truth. We don't fucking come out with spew lies and make it out like that we're doing a good thing.
I mean, think about it. Think about 2004 Republican. What comes to your mind? Like old white man. Right?
Exactly.
And then
that's what they.
No, I'm sorry. Let me finish. And then 13 years later, you say the word Republican, you almost you're thinking of, thinker, like a punk, like a rebel. And just that quickly, the term has changed from old white man to rebel thinker.
Right.
That's what the liberal has done to the word. It's insane.
Well, yeah, they just pick out different labels to place on the groups.
Yeah, so crazy.
We talked about this two podcasts ago. They love placing people in groups because they can label a whole bunch of people. And instead of being an individual, you're that racist group, or you're part of that. You're that part of that group that hates, black people, or hates women, hates gays, and it just literally makes no sense.
I had to explain it to my friend Anthony a couple weeks ago. He goes, Can you explain to me, like, I told him exactly what you said about the liberals hating, they attack the group, and they'll attack the individual and kick the individual out of the group. It's all about the group. He said, what do you mean by that? I was like, Ant, think about it like this. He's an artist.
Okay.
So I was like, Ant, say liberal art at the time. This is liberal art. So you're only allowed to do modern art. That's it. You're a liberal artist. You're a modern artist. Okay. I was like, Ant, say you come in there and say you do cubism. You're the best cubism artist in the world. Best. Now you're a liberal. You're only.
And he should be admired and recognized for that.
But Ant, you're only allowed to do modern art now because you're with us. But I'm Anthony. But I'm the best cubist. I want to do my cubism. I want to spread my cubism. I'm with the best artists in the world. No, Ant, you're with us now. You do modern art or you don't do art. And he's like, okay, I kind of get it now. That's great. I was like, you get it? I was like, if you're not part of the group, you're not in the group. You're not in the group if you're not part of the group, dude.
That's a great. See, this is why I love doing the show with Sal, because he has a different, he talks to people and we have different, obviously different groups of people we hang out with. Groups, yeah. He's obviously much younger but that's an excellent example. Someone who didn't understand that and was cool enough to ask him to explain it to him, which that's great.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I get it now. I was like, yeah, so you can never be the great artist you are because you have to do their style.
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
Yep.
Or be ostracized.
That's exactly the way it is. So it's something that is completely bothersome to me.
It's insane. It's like they don't want any individuality, nothing. Like everything that it is to be an American, you're not allowed to be it.
Right.
It's fucking crazy.
It's completely nuts. And then like I said, man, I had to talk about this shithead. And I'm not calling him by his name. I'm calling him by his real name. This douchebag out of New York, Wilhem. And you know who this is. And I swore that being an Italian American descent, I am not talking about his fake name. I'm not. I will not mention him by his name. But the mayor of New York, Wilhem, met with and took pictures with the organizer of the Women's and Antifa marches, Linda Sarsur. They're good buddies. So think about this. This is a woman that said, we want jihad on Trump. And by the way, people, she came out and said that we misinterpreted the word jihad. And it's funny because Sal and I in last podcast, you go back and look at it, we explained what jihad was. The next day, she came out and said, jihad is being misinterpreted and the people that don't know the Quran are misinformed. And I'm like, hey, Linda Sarsur, fuck you. Yeah. I've read the Quran many times and not for nothing, I have the exact word, what it means. And then I also read a book this week called The Infidel. It was a great book. And basically what The Infidel was, it was about a woman, a Muslim woman who was generally mutilated for not abiding by what they believed in, like Sal said. But Muslims, obviously, extreme. They also said, which was interesting, in The Infidel, that there's no such thing as radical Islam. Yeah. All Islam is bad. Yeah. And so that comes across, and people heard that, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's bashing an entire religion." And if you read the book, I always say, Sal and I talking about Islam, we have a certain amount of credibility because he has some friends who he deals with closely. I've read the Quran, but we don't live it. And when you have a person like that who lived it, who was violently, life was altered. Yeah, they have a lot more ability to talk about than you and I.
Yeah, I'm glad you went down this road. Let's talk about this a little bit.
Go ahead.
Because it reminds me of the podcast I listened to with a guy named Gad Saad, S-G-A-D-S-A-A-D. He's a Lebanon Jew, and he talks about being in Lebanon before the Civil War took over and what it was like being a minority living with all Muslims. And he says it was a lot more. He's like, they hated you. They fucking hated you when I'm going. He's a man, I would say close to 60, early 60s. If I had to,
he's in good shape.
He's a good shape. He's a good man. But so he has that knowledge of way back in the day. And he goes, they would accept us, but it's like they would tell us to my face, like, know your role, Jew boy. Know your role. Know where you are. And this is in Lebanon. Yep. And now these people are spreading everywhere and putting this on everywhere they go. It's insane. But yeah, Gadsad has the same exact view as Gary was just saying. There's no radical Islam. It's just fucking Islam is the problem.
Yeah.
Until these people come to grips with the shitty parts of their religion and stop it, all of Islam is bad. You can't hold just the radical. You have to hold them all accountable at this point because they know that there's bad parts of their own religion. They refuse to stop it. So,
well, how
do you combat it?
Here's an example, and you tell me this wasn't done by ISIS. This wasn't done by Al Qaeda, Hamas, you know, any of the Muslim Brotherhood. This was done. There was a guy in Sweden. He was a cartoonist. One day in Sweden, in the Swedish newspaper, he made a cartoon of Muhammad. And if I'm not mistaken, he made several cartoons, but the one that was the most offensive was he dressed up Muhammad like in a clown outfit and had him, you know, looking like a douchebag. The man was killed, and he was killed by Muslims in Sweden who were not part of an extremist group. They were not part of a group that was committing, you know, terrorist attacks across the country. They are part of, just like this gentleman Saad, God Saad said, and what Sal spoke about. He was killed by basically
just regular
Muslims living in Sweden.
Yeah.
So how do you explain that?
It's their book. Their book tells them this is right.
Yep.
And it's not right until they revise. I'm not telling them to scrap their religion. I'm telling them to revise their fucking book.
Yeah.
Get rid of that awful shit that's in your book and start acting like a fucking normal human being.
Well,
they're living like barbarians.
Well, yeah, they're back in the Stone Ages.
Yeah.
Well, if it's funny, because what happened was I did my research on the Quran and Muhammad, and basically what happened was Muhammad wrote the first Quran, and it was moderate. It was a moderate book, and he got zero traction. No one listened to it. No one read it. People laughed at him, and then for some reason, he went completely bonkers, and then he became, basically the way he wrote the book is the way he lived his life, and he became someone who raped little children, treated women and like farm animals, stoned and hurt gay people.
If the people and the gay people and the women doesn't bother you people, how about this? He hated dogs.
Yep.
He kills dogs.
Yeah.
As he hated it. All Muslim. Why do you think Muslim people don't have dogs? They're not supposed to because Muhammad told them not to.
Exactly.
Kill all dogs.
Yep.
Does that reach your heart a little now?
Yeah.
Obviously, people, children, and gay people don't. So
Yeah.
how about dogs?
Right.
He fucking hates dogs too.
Exactly.
That's in the book.
And I don't like watching this, and it's funny Sal mentions this because I couldn't watch it. But my buddy Ralph sent me a private video on. I couldn't watch it, and it was exactly what Sal said. They showed a truck, kind of like a military truck. You know, the trucks that they look like
Big old Humvees.
Yeah, Humvees, and it has like the canvas.
Yep.
They were taking dogs they just murdered and killed and throwing them into a ditch. And there was two guys just taking the dogs, and I couldn't watch it. It was disturbing. Now, it's funny Sal mentions this because I wasn't even going to talk about it. Yeah. But it bothered the shit out of me, and I don't like those. Like, I can't watch the Sarah McLachlan.
I know those.
The commercials.
Shits.
I get crazy. So when I saw it, but in a weird way, I'm kind of glad. I didn't really know it. I know when I read the Quran, I know, but I never physically saw them doing it. But here's the funny part: what Sal spoke of. You know, they do this to women. They do this to gay people. They do this to people that don't believe. They do it to dogs. Thanks, Demps. Demps pissed too about it. And if that doesn't bother you, and you're gonna sit and support them, then something is wrong. I mean, there is something wrong with you if you don't understand how crazy this is. Yeah, see, Dempsey's pissed off. He heard Muslims, and he went blaring.
He went fucking berserk.
He's going berserk on I thought he saw a Muslim out there that would want to hurt him, but and you don't want to get him pissed off. He's a big dog, but that's something. So what happened is Muhammad went back and he went from a moderate extreme to as radical and as violent as he possibly could. And what happened was he started picking up followers a lot. And now look where we are today. We're in a place where
you're almost fucking 2 billion deep of these fucking cockroaches.
Exactly.
What do we do?
Exactly. It's a scary thing. It's a scary thing that's going on. And so what God said and what God Saad, whatever.
He's a good listen.
He's a great listen. And the book, The Infidel, this is what they said. And I got to kind of agree with them. I kind of agree.
I definitely agree. 100%.
And if you talk to a Sikh, which I do. I have quite a bit. I got my buddy Mandeep Gill. His family comes from a long lineage of Sikh warriors out of India who've been fighting the Muslims for thousands of years. He says this exact thing to me. Exact. And it's funny because I think he has a lot more credibility, his family does, because he's of Indian descent from that region.
Yeah, I love it too, because people will say to you, well, when the fuck have Muslims ever, you know, had everything and then had to be repelled out? It's like, oh, you mean the Moors?
Yeah.
You mean
exactly.
Spain?
Yeah. The Crusades?
Oh, I forgot. Fucking assholes.
Yeah. Get educated.
Yeah, people just talk out of their ass like, oh, these people, they're so oppressed. Yeah, they're so oppressed. There's 2 billion of them.
Yeah, and there's it's also funny. I saw he was a, believe it or not, he was a college professor. You might have seen the video. You might have seen it too. What he did was he was addressing a class in college, and I forgot what college he was, but he had a huge fishbowl of marbles, and all the marbles were different colors. And so each marble will represent a country in the Middle East. And the way he did it was brilliant. He said, you know, say you have this many Iraqi refugees that want to come to America and other parts of the country. He put out the, you know, the color of Iraq, which I think at the time was green. Then he said Syria was going to be red, and he did this. But basically the gist of him was that there is no way that these refugees can survive or that we can accommodate this many people in the future. So we have to find an alternate way to do it. And it's not taking them out of their environment. It's making their environment better. Yeah. So he said it's going to be futile. Even if if America said we're going to take 5 million refugees a year, which would be disaster. Yeah. But he didn't agree with it, but he just said, hypothetically, say you did. He said the problem would be like, and if you saw it by his fishbowl, because they all overflowed, he said, in the analogy he used, it would be like pissing in the ocean. There's just too many, and there's going to be billions, and you cannot sustain them. And so he said to me, it has nothing to do, and I loved his logic. He's like, it's nothing to do with not being sensitive, he goes, it's not possible. It's not
economical.
It's not viable.
It's not feasible. Yeah.
Exactly. So
it's an impossibility.
That was a great little video I saw of that guy, because it made sense of that, because he said it puts to bed the whole liberal thought processes is we need to take more over, because you can't take any, because it's not going to work. So he goes, it doesn't matter if you took it 65,000, 650,000. It doesn't matter if it took 6 million. There's still going to be a problem, and it's never going to end. Yeah. So
that's pretty nuts.
He's like,
that's a good. I have to look up that video.
Yeah, it was a good video. It was a good. He was a sharp dude, the guy. It was in a fishbowl with marbles, and it was good.
Type that in.
What else you got? You got anything else?
No, man, we got this.
Tonight
we went pretty solid. We can wrap it up.
Yeah, okay. And well, with the
do you have anything else you want to cover?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
If you got anything?
Nah, we're good.
We're good. And we want to end this podcast because tonight has been a long awaited night here in America and around the world on HBO, Game of Thrones. We've waited about a year and a half.
Yes, a year and a fucking half.
Year and a half.
Winter is here. Finally.
And they're talking about minimally 23 million people watching this tonight.
Fucking insane. We're in for a good show tonight.
Yeah, really excited. So Sal and I are gonna wrap this up. We're gonna go get ready for Game of Thrones. We're gonna put our little popcorn on. Yeah. We're gonna get our snacks. We're gonna set up. I think actually when we're done with this podcast, Sal and I are gonna check out 9 and 10?
Yeah.
9 and 10. And listen, people, I don't know if you saw this. If anything, go back and watch 10. Well, I would say watch 9 and 10 because we're kind of late on time. But the battle that Sal speaks of, let me just give you a quick synopsis. The horses are ready to fight. Both clans are going to fight.
There.
It sounded like my house was shaking like this, just like this thing. It sounded like the horses were coming through my fucking living room. I was like, holy shit. I had the surround sound, the bows. It was like, it was an amazing thing. So with that, enjoy it. If you're watching Game of Thrones, go watch it. Yes. Enjoy. We'll talk about it next week briefly. I know it was not a Game of Thrones, but we'll talk about it because it's going to be kick-ass.
This is culture right here.
Exactly, it's culture. Secondarily, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch Game of Thrones. You will not regret it. Yes. It's the best show that was ever on TV.
It really is. It's fucking amazing. All right, people.
Set.
Peace.
Gabagool out. See you next week, people. Have a great night. Ciao. How long did we go? Did we go like
a while?
We did?
I'll let you post and do all that.
Let's see. Post.
No, we went a while.
Did we go over an hour, you think?
Yeah. That's why I figured it was perfect hour.